Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. All right. Is the audio running now, Pat? Or yes, no sound. Okay, Pat, let me give you a second. Okay, so yeah, I didn't notice it's a new microphone. There's a little button that mutes it. I think it was muted. So I see Charles Margison said yes. I'm assuming that was yes. You can hear me. Okay, Pat's saying yes. All right, so we're here live. This time I've got hopefully a better microphone. The last few times we had some problems with the headset earplugs I had, and it wasn't working very well. This one is hooked in through the computer. Okay. All right. So we're going to be discussing, amongst other things, Lobby Day. Lobby Day this year, I don't know what to say. I can't think of how to express how important Lobby Day is going to be for us. There's a lot we don't know about it yet. The details, unfortunately, are going to be worked out during the time that we're doing our rally. By the time the rally's over, we'll know more about how the committees and subcommittees are going to run for the rest of the session. And we don't know how long the session's going to be. The session could be one day. I don't think so. Could be 2 days, 3 days, could be a week. I'm thinking, just pure conjecture, that it could be a week, but I don't know. They're focused on one thing, gun bills. So if that's all they're focused on, then it should go fairly quickly. Although it has been brought to my attention that they may also take some time out to appoint some more, or appoint or reappoint some judges. So if that's true, then it could drag on a little bit longer, but they're not going to want to drag it on a real long time. So I'm hoping that it won't be a multi-week affair. And if it is, it is. We got to deal with it. We cannot not deal with this. So we are going to meet at 9 a.m. And by the way, before I forget, let me get up and walk to my printer real quick. I just printed something off. There's going to be a little pre-Lobby Day get-together on Monday in Virginia Beach area. Let me grab that and I'll read the information to you. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. All right, here we go. So it's going to be a pre-rally. It'll be on Monday, July 8th at 7 p.m. in Virginia Beach, and it's going to be held at a gun store, Echoes of Glory / Classic Firearms. That's at 1329 Harper's Road, number 102, Virginia Beach. And I'll put this in an alert as well, but I thought I'd give you a heads up, those of you that might be in the Virginia Beach area. One of the people that's on here listening is Vincent Smith, who is in Building 2, and he'll be speaking at Lobby Day, but he's also going to be, I guess, speaking a little bit at this pre-Lobby Day meeting in Virginia Beach, since that's his home base as well. So there's some more information about what they're planning on doing. They're going to have some pizza and so forth there. So it's just going to be a little get-together, talk a little bit about Lobby Day and so forth. It's like a mini pre-Lobby Day meeting. So if you want to go to that and you're in the Southeast Virginia, head over that way. Again, that's Echoes of Glory / Classic Firearms, 1329 Harper's Road, number 102 in Virginia Beach, 23454. It says it's behind the Oceana Master Air Base near the Navy Exchange, next door to Ghost Army Tactical. So I'm sure that'll mean something to those of you down there. Let's see. I don't see any comments or any questions at this time. Okay, so the plan is, again, at 9 o'clock, we're going to meet in downtown Richmond, right at the Capitol, right at 10th Street and Bank, B-A-N-K, like where you put your money. And that is right between, it's right where the General Assembly, the new General Assembly, the temporary General Assembly building is. And across the street is the actual Capitol, where you go underground to get into the Capitol building. We can't rally at the bell tower because there's a gun control something going on up there. So we're going to stay clear of that area. We'll be more polite to them than they're ever polite to us, but there you go. Anyhow, we'll rally. We'll be broken into teams. Your team leader will take you. You'll go in through the metal detectors, show your concealed carry permits if you're carrying. You can open carry, you can conceal carry, up to you, but you have to have a valid concealed carry permit to get in. If you're going to go, check your permit so that you don't get there to find out it's expired. So take a look at it, make sure the date is good. Doesn't have to be a Virginia permit. If you look at you and you go, oh my God, my Virginia permit is expired, I need to renew it, and you've got a Utah, Florida, whatever permit, you can carry on that while you're doing your renewal. So I suggest you look. The teams will lobby from around 9 a.m. to about 11:45. You'll be going to, basically we've broken the teams into to handle various clusters of legislators. So at the end of the day, I forget how many teams we've got, 20 or 22 teams. It's a lot of teams, but they will have all covered all 140 between all of them. In other words, you may go to 6 legislators, and another team goes to 6, and another goes. By the time we're done, we've covered all 140 legislators, both senators and senators and the delegates, and I don't think they're assigned in any particular way other than trying to pick rooms that are fairly near each other. I think we're trying to keep you from having to go from the 3rd floor to the 6th floor to the 4th floor and so forth. I think it'll be laid out so you can go fairly quickly. I think that's how we did it last year. So you may or may not be seeing your own legislators. So that's why after the rally, we're going to look for a few things. Number one, the rally's over at 1. So it starts at noon, ends at 1. We're thinking that everybody can grab a quick lunch after 1 and get back to the General Assembly if you can. I know some people absolutely can't. They've got to get back home. But if you can stay, we really, really could use as many people as possible to go ahead and hang out and make a day out of this. When you stay, we will then, I suggest that when you first get there, if there's nothing else going on yet, if we're still waiting for them to finish coming off the floor of the House and off the floor of the Senate and for any committees to start, that you, at that point, if you haven't talked to your own legislators, go ahead and go. And if you got some friends there with you, go as a little mini team and go to everybody's legislator that's in that little mini team. So if you and 6 other people get together, figure out who the legislators are, and as a team go, and the constituent should be the one to step forward if that's your legislator and indicate, yes, I'm a constituent, I'm here with some friends, and if you got more constituents, that's even better. And lay it out. No more gun control. Let's do something that would save lives. Let's let people with concealed handgun permits carry. Let government employees of the state and local government carry. If they've got a permit, let them carry concealed to protect themselves. We've got a variety of messages there. And like I say, I know I've had a few people bristle. It seems like every time we turn around, it's the government getting more things than us, the people. The government's, after all, our servant. But I have to remind everybody that the government employees are us. They're citizens like you and me. They're CHP holders. They fight. They're VCDL members. They fight just as hard as anybody else to protect that right. And they are, for lack of another word, it's a lower hanging fruit to fix because they're controlled by the state. The state can, and local government. In fact, the state can set the standard for even local government on this. When it comes to those of us that work in the private world, that's a different animal, but there are ways to come and fix that, but it's a whole different mechanism, and it's probably not going to make sense for this emergency session, and maybe something that would make sense in January. We're definitely looking at that. we think that you can't force a business to do something. You don't want to do that, but you want to give them some incentives if they've got employees that have permits to let them carry concealed. It's a tough issue. Like I always say, what other animal on earth disarms itself? I can't think of any. We're the only one that takes our defense and sets it aside and then walks somewhere. It's the only one. All the other creatures say, you know what, wherever I'm going, I'm taking my horns or my claws or my teeth with me. So we've got a lot to learn from our fellow animals out there when it comes to self-defense. So there will be hopefully committee meetings. I do believe there will, and I bet they'll be active because, again, they're not going to want this session to last forever. They're not going to want to convene, decide they're going to have committees, and then go home for the day and then come back again on Wednesday and Thursday. They're going to want, wouldn't you want to go ahead and let's get rolling? Let's get the committees out there. It doesn't take long to set up a committee. They can virtually just copy everything they had in January. There's all your committee members all set up. Just put the committee back out there and put a bill its way, and it can have the same subcommittees. It'll all just be accelerated rather than waiting a day or days or maybe a week for a bill to be re-referred to a subcommittee. It could happen immediately. The main committee adjourns, subcommittee comes in, battles it out. The main committee, maybe the next day on Wednesday, would then hear the bills that had made it out of subcommittee and then could vote on those. And then from there, they go to the floor. And it would be a similar process in the Senate, although one of the key gun committees in the Senate doesn't really use subcommittees. Oh, they did when the Democrats were in control and they wanted to kill pro-gun bills. Then suddenly they created a subcommittee just for that purpose. But they're not in control right now. And if we don't do our job in November, we could be reliving the bad old days. We don't want to do that. It wasn't any fun. So what we're looking at doing, so picture this, you've got, it's after 1 o'clock, people have gone to lunch, they've come back, maybe they're doing a little lobbying. Well, somehow we need to get a hold of everybody and say, hey, guess what? There is a committee meeting going on at 2:30 in House Committee Room 3 or something. And we need to let you know that so that everybody can head over there. And we need as many people as we can. If you don't want to speak, then you'll have your Gun Saves Live sticker on. That's good. If I say everybody agreeing with me, stand up, your opportunity to stand up. If you want to speak, that's fine. And with speaking, the other side is hilarious to watch. The committee says, could you please keep this short, a couple minutes or something. And the other side cannot do that to save their soul. It's very rare that they're not told that they've run over time, but we don't want to do that. If they want to do that, it's up to them, but we don't want to do that. We want, and I truly believe if you can't say what you need to say in 3 minutes, then you may need to rethink it. Because, you don't want to get lost in minutia. You want to hit the major points and then you're done. If for red flag laws, you want to say, it violates due process. It violates, your ability to confront your accuser. And above all, it doesn't help the dangerous person. It doesn't get them any mental help. It doesn't get them off the street where they could harm people. If they're dangerous towards others, why? You're taking their guns away. Maybe you don't know if you've gotten all their guns. You have no idea. But now, if they were dangerous before, they're really going to be dangerous, and you're leaving them there. There's little arguments like that you can make. Just try to keep it short. I think people appreciate short. So, watching a little comments come up here. But anyhow, if you can dress business casual, that would be great. Now, it's going to be a little hot. I understand that. Well, remember, you can open carry, so you could put on a shirt and tie for the gentleman and so forth. If you can't, well, we need you there. I know for me, I always wear a coat and tie and stuff. But if it's extremely hot outside at the rally, I'll probably just take the jacket off. But again, the legislators are all dressed that way, and for us to be, I feel, to be respectful of the fact that this is an important part of government that we're dealing with, that we be dressed accordingly if possible. But don't get me wrong. If that's a problem, I still want you to show up. So just throwing it out there. If you can do it, do it. And ladies, same sort of thing. Dress the equivalent of business casual, if you can. Children, welcome. If you want to bring your children with you, that's fine. It's totally up to you. Obviously, we don't want to minimize any disruptions if you had any crying babies or anything, but I know you guys know how to take care of that. But there's no problem with that. Families being there is great. Families are what makes the world run. Let's see, what else? We will, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I really don't know how I'm going to do this. As of this minute, let me slip over, if I can get over here. Just want to confirm something. Okay. As of this minute, there are two bills up there, which I think, by the way, is kind of funny. Remember, this was called as an emergency session of the General Assembly, urgent, special session because of what happened in Virginia Beach. We've got to do something. Well, everything the governor threw out there wouldn't have made any difference. So the emergency session, if everything he wanted passed, and a year from now, a person walks into building 1 in Virginia Beach, we're going to be, or any other building, the equivalent of building 2, we're going to be back. It wouldn't have changed anything. It won't change anything. But I thought it was funny that the first 2 bills that came in, and the only 2 right now that are showing on the tracking system, are pro-gun bills. These, and I'll have these in an alert, but Delegate Mark Cole put in both of them. One basically puts into law the right to keep and bear arms, being definitely a personal thing, as was codified in DC versus Heller, and that's probably going to be modified. The wording needs to change a little bit on that. And the other one allows carrying a handgun with a concealed carry permit if you work for the state or local government. So, and it says they however, they can ban that carry, but they have to have basically armed security there. And I would say that they need to have, and this doesn't say it, but I think they need to modify the bill to put in that they need to have metal detectors and omnipresent armed security. So as long as the building is open, you got to have armed security. If you don't have all that, then permit holders are allowed to protect themselves. And indeed, the truth of the matter is that the 98% of public mass shootings, happen in what's called an unenforced gun-free zone. That's one where some idiot puts up a sign and says, "Oh, gun-free zone," and that's it. And they think they're done. That's an unenforced gun-free zone, and naturally, that's like honey to flies. I mean, they're right there on that. So this would basically say, no, if you're going to do this, you've got to have an enforced gun-free zone, like an airport has, or a courthouse, not an unenforced. And it might be that maybe they should also consider a modification to say, if you have that, but at any time you turn that off, like let's say at night, the building is open, but after 5, the security goes home, then after 5, you should be able to carry. Once either the metal detectors are off or the armed security is gone, either one, you should be allowed to carry. Well, we'll see. This is what we've got to hammer up. I thought it was very ironical that the first 2 bills were on our side, pro-gun. It doesn't mean anything. There's going to be plenty of gun control bills coming up soon. Now, let me apologize to everybody. This drives me crazy about this system, and the only time I use this particular system is when I'm doing these broadcasts, and I really apologize. I forget. I'm used to a system that scrolls automatically, so when I'm looking at the screen, it scrolls as comments come up. Oh no, not this one. Oh no. You got to remember to scroll on your own. So consequently, you guys have been commenting, and I'm just now seeing some of these. I guess there's questions being asked up there that are being answered by like Pat Webb. Now there's too many of them now I'll kind of scroll down to the end and try to keep my eye open a little bit better. I'm sorry, I'm just not used to the system. I don't know. I would think there should be an auto scroll option, would be very handy. So the governor has put out his agenda again. He put out his own copy of what he's pushing for, and it's all the things we've kind of already been talking about on VA Alert all this time. So there's nothing there so far that I've seen that was not expected. Needless to say, as crazy as this stuff is, as obvious as it is that the governor is trying to run away from his little blackface problems, it's definitely something to be concerned about. And by the way, I see a comment here. Vincent's asking me if there's any restrictions on cameras or photography in the building or chambers. No, you can film freely in the General Assembly building. I'm waiting for a vote from one board member, and maybe he's voted and I haven't seen it yet, but we're looking at having somebody there to record the rally and record parts of Lobby Day like we do every year, where we put together a video so you can kind of see a sampling of Lobby Day, all of the entire rally, but also a sampling of what it's like as teams go from office to office and gathering outside in the morning and, marshaling, if you will, all of that. So we're looking at that. I'm waiting on one more vote to come in. And once I get that, if it's a positive vote, we're going to go forward with it. And I'll try to remember when I'm done. But the thing I was complaining about before is this is going to be, I don't know how I'm going to pull this rabbit out of a hat. And it's unfortunately a very big rabbit and a very small hat. But we've got 2 bills posted. I know there's going to be a load of them. It's now Friday night. I don't think any more are coming in. I have a feeling that, unless I'm greatly mistaken, Legislative Services, who puts the bills, enters them into the computer and posts them and handles all the technical stuff with the bills, is probably gone home. Now, have they gone home for the entire weekend? I'm thinking maybe not. Maybe they'll show up tomorrow. So a whole bunch of stuff might show up tomorrow. But keep in mind, I have to analyze the bills, create a document that has the bill number, the name of the patron, and then what the bill does in plain English and why we love it or hate it. And then we need to print those out. We need 140 copies just for the legislators, and get those ready by Lobby Day, which is Tuesday. So I don't know. I guess I'll practice pulling rabbits out of a hat while I'm waiting for them to post something. Maybe I can get the hand motion right and get that rabbit out of there. But I've never have been in a situation quite this cramped. I can't believe they don't have more up than this. I know we've got more bills in this country, lots of bills, and good bills on our side. So we will see. All right, let me see if I have any questions. Okay, Pat's bringing up a little reminder here. We've got, most legislators are going to be polite to you. Many will be glad to see you. Many will welcome you with open arms. There's a few. Even the ones that aren't pro-gun will usually be decent to you. But there's a few that just are odd. I'm trying to think of another word, but odd comes to mind. Different, strange from everybody else, in that they do things like, well, if you've got a gun, you can't come in my office. Well, fine. It's stupid, but okay. But never, if they say, well, I'll give your gun to the secretary and she can hold the gun. No. You keep your gun on your person, holstered at all times, untouched. And if they won't let you in, just, there's a report the team leader will be writing, and he will advise us who did that and so forth. So just don't worry about it. And to show you how little these people know about gun laws, if indeed you handed your gun to the secretary and she put it in her desk, she better have a concealed carry permit. Otherwise, each one, well, the first gun she put in there would be a misdemeanor class 1. The second one she put in the drawer would make her a class 6 felon. So he'd be looking for a new legislative aid or somebody to help him the next year because she'd be in jail. So they don't think about this. They just don't know anything about guns. It's just fascinating. But you do, and somebody's pointing out Kathleen Murphy is one of them. Very possible. Kathleen Murphy is an interesting lady. I was at a committee meeting about 4 years ago, and it was one of these. It wasn't a committee meeting. It was a meeting at the General Assembly it was a gun control meeting. It was like a press conference for gun control. And I was just standing out in the hallway, looking through the door, just listening in. Again, it's not my position to interfere with any of that. They do what they want to do. I was just curious what they were saying, and Delegate Murphy was in front of me, and so it was some sad stories of people who lost family due to what criminals do, and of course it was blaming the gun instead of the criminal, but that's just the way it is. But Kathleen Murphy just turned around and just right in my face. She was right in front of me, and she was right there and just stared into my face, just stared at me, just stare. I basically ignored her and looked kind of over her head. She's not all that tall, but I was looking at what was going on, trying to listen, and she's still staring at me. Finally, I go, I'm sorry, can I help you? And she just, then she said something about, it was our fault or something like that. I don't remember her exact words, but I told that story to a few people down at the General Assembly. It turns out I wasn't the only one to get that kind of staring treatment. It was rather interesting. Some unusual things go on, but anyhow, the main thing is it's important that we do what we do. We're logical. We use logic and reason. We're calm, knowledgeable. And we know that a personal attack, as soon as you attack somebody personally, you've already lost the fight. You've given up. If all you can do is attack somebody personally, I had some people doing that to me because I commented on an article. They couldn't knock down my comments. They attacked me. And, ding, 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 you've lost when you do that. It's over. All right. So let me think if there's anything else. There are restaurants in the area, like I say, for lunch. There are several. There's pizza places. There's nothing really in the General Assembly building itself. The Capitol does have a cafeteria, a small little thing inside there, but there are some restaurants in the area at some of the hotels, and also just restaurants like on Main Street and stuff that are within a few blocks walking distance. Or I suppose you could, maybe bring something, but probably the less that you're carrying, the better off you are. The quicker you'll get through the metal detectors, and anything that's metal you don't need to bring in the building, leave it in your car. That would be knives or just anything that's going to take more time, because there's going to be a lot of people hopefully trying to get in that building. So if they don't have to spend forever on you because you've got metal this and metal that will speed you up getting through and everybody behind you. So consider that. On your gun, if you're carrying, as soon as you get to the metal detectors, just show them your concealed carry permit and have your driver's license ready. Maybe, I don't know, my wallet's fixed up so I can just show both in one fell swoop. But if you don't, just at least show them your permit, and then they're going to probably want to see your driver's license. And then they'll wave you through. They may still wand you. Don't ask me to, to me, it's all gun control. None of it makes any sense. Wanding somebody that's told you and showed you a permit do they wand off-duty police officers coming in there? I bet you they don't. It's like, anyhow, but whatever, at least, our rights are protected in there. Go through the door and you're fine. That way, especially to and from your car, you're good, and you're protected in the building should something horrible ever happen. Hopefully it won't. Capitol Police are good. They've got a really good police force. They're very friendly towards gun owners. And they're friendly overall. So we'll be good there. If you've never spoken in front of a committee, nothing to worry about. You don't have to sign up. They'll call for speakers, and they call usually that. Well, you can't. Can't predict the order. Sometimes they'll call. They'll read the patron will read the bill. They'll discuss it up there, and then they'll say, "Okay, now we'll get public comment." And I don't know. The order varies, but they can say, "Okay, people supporting this bill, please step forward. Up to the microphone or whatever, up to the podium." Or then they'll say people opposed to the bill step forward. So at the appropriate time, go if you want to comment, stand up and go up there. When you get there, just give your name and your location, Joe Schmo, Lynchburg, Virginia, whatever. And then they don't always have a timer up there. Sometimes they do. But just again, short, sweet, to the point. That's if you want to read notes, that's fine. If you don't, if you're good at just ad-libbing, then do that. I think one of the things that's good is letting the emotion come through a little bit, just showing it. I mean, if you're passionate about this, if you're not passionate, don't worry about it. But if you're really passionate about it, let that come through too. Because you're talking about your right to protect your family. And your own life. I can't think of. There isn't much out there more important than that. None of us want to lose our families. And every time they tinker with these gun laws, they say, "Oh, we don't want to take your guns away." Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, yeah, they do. That's the biggest lie, and I'm not putting up with that lie anymore. It's a lie. They do want to take our guns. It's just a matter of time. They know they can't come in tomorrow and take them, so they'll just keep constantly looking around and saying, "Oh, well, this happened, so now that guy had a lot of speeding tickets. We never picked up on how he so disregarded the law." So that seems to be a symptom of these killers, that they drive fast and they and so forth. And so, too many speeding tickets, we need to take away their guns because they might do something. These red flag laws are a classic example of where they want to go. Oh, he might do something someday. I think he's dangerous. He might hurt himself. And then, and of course they make it sound like, "Oh yeah, we got due process." Oh yeah, sure you do. After the fact. And by the way, the judge really has no incentive to go out on a limb for you. How do you prove you're safe? How do you prove that you're not dangerous? I mean, the judge could be thinking to himself, yeah, I'm not so sure he's dangerous, but if I'm wrong and he does something, oh boy, they're going to be looking at me because I'm the one that gave his guns back to him. So you see, the judge really doesn't have a strong incentive to want to give your guns back. So even if you could somehow convince him that you were safe, he still may not want to walk out on that limb. So you could basically end up with a lifelong gunman until you've managed to find a judge that would be reasonable and give your rights back. Again, it's not about saving lives, including the dangerous person. It's all about disarming us. Little at a time, they're going to keep putting more and more disqualifiers, speeding tickets, misdemeanor anything at some point, any of that stuff. And a little at a time, oh no, Second Amendment's there, guys. It's there. Sorry, just that 99% of the people don't qualify anymore because they're felons or they've done this or that, or people think they could be bad. We're headed there, and we have to put an end to it. We can't let that happen. And that's why we're going there Tuesday to say, no, no, no. We're not going that way. We're going to go the other way. We're going to restore. We're not getting anything new. We're restoring what's been stolen from us over the years. The Second Amendment started out pretty pure. And then over time, over the years, it's been slowly eroding and being taken away from us. All we really want is our rights back. We want them fully restored. Yeah, what we've got now is probably better than any other place in the world, perhaps, but it's not what it was meant to be. It just isn't. So, anyhow, I see Tess is asking who the rally speakers are. By the way, if you go to hold on, let me. If you go to vcdl.org/rally, that page is being updated as time goes on, and that right now is listing speakers. Right now, we've got more coming, but I've got 4 listed, excluding myself. Eric Pratt, Senior Vice President, Gun Owners of America. Vincent Smith, who's on this list here again, who worked in Building 2. He wasn't in it when the attack happened, but he's had to live with the aftermath in all different ways, from knowing so many of those that were killed and hurt to having to notify people, the family and stuff of people that were killed and hurt and everything else. His life was a total nightmare. Maybe not the nightmare of those that lost somebody, but it was right up close to that. We have Maj Tour, founder of Black Guns Matter. He is one of those, I believe, that helped push to train 800 women for free up in I'm trying to think, he's in Michigan, and so he'll be coming. Oh no, it's not Michigan. I think he's in Pennsylvania. But anyhow, he was part of that. Really big on, especially also trying to get minorities to understand their rights. That's a real problem. So many of them don't understand. It's terrible. And if once they understand the importance of the Second Amendment and get all the stuff they've been taught to disarm them out of their heads, they should become pretty strong supporters. But they've got to know the truth first. Also have Brandon Howard speaking with the Right to Bear Arms Richmond. He's a VCDL member. And we won't probably have any legislators speaking, because they will be in session at the same exact time our rally is going on. So they won't be out there. That I can't imagine. Now, they might send an aide. I hadn't thought about that. They could send an aide, but that's not quite as good as the legislator showing up. So we will probably get a few more speakers in there. At this point, I believe there was a particularly articulate speaker at the Fredericksburg City Council, a young lady. It was her first time to publicly speak, but boy, I tell you what, if that was the first time, I could only imagine what would happen if she had a little bit, even more time. A very incredible speech. I mean, Pat Webb and I just looked at each other when she was talking, saying, whoa, we got to get her name and address and see if we can get her to be a part of all this. And she's basically agreed. So that will be the 5th one on that list. She's got a great story to tell, and she's a person, like I mentioned earlier. She's passionate about it, and it shows, and that's important, because that underlines to people how deeply important this is to us. This is not some casual thing that we could live or live without. It's not, and we're not going to treat it that way. Let me look at a few more of these comments here. The good thing is we've got executive members and board members out here answering some of it online as people ask. Now, again, I'm having to keep up by scrolling by hand here. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, Pat was pointing out something. I think that sometimes it's easy to phrase wrong. The Second Amendment, along with the other 9 amendments that are the Bill of Rights, do not grant us. The government didn't say, we bequeath unto you the right to protect your family, and the right to not have to speak against yourself in court, and the right to have free speech and free religion. They didn't bequeath us that. God gave us all of that. The first 10 amendments are there to tell government, you keep your mitts off as much as possible, all of these things. Guns, religion, free speech, all of that. That's what it's about. Government gave us nothing. We gave the government some power. We have rights. The government has power. We granted it certain powers, but we also put in safety valves. Do we have enough safety valves? I don't know. Probably not. And are these safety valves properly maintained? Are we actually? No, probably not. Again, the government has gotten away. That shall not be infringed thing. It's amazing how much infringing they've managed to do. And of course, they pointed to Supreme Court as saying, well, it's all illegal because the Supreme Court says so. Supreme Court's changed its tune over time on a lot of things. At one time, right after when they had freed black slaves, the Supreme Court was saying, well, if we treated them as actual free men, then we would have to let them carry guns everywhere they go. Yeah, that was the Supreme Court back in the mid 1800s or so, right after, I believe that was right after the Civil War. And things have changed. Luckily, all that's gone. But those rights are important for all of us. All right, let's see. Yes, and Terry Bauder points out that gun rights aren't about hunting. It's a wonderful side effect that we can hunt with guns. It's a tool. It's a tool that can be used for hunting. But that's not what the Second Amendment was protecting, because especially if you look at it, if you can't hunt and you're in a rough situation, you may not live. Hunting is one thing that keeps us alive and can put food on the table. It's not about target shooting for fun. No, it's not about that at all. It's about three things: protecting ourselves as individuals from criminals. It's about protecting our country. The founding fathers would be smiling on those people that were hit by Katrina, where the neighborhoods got together and got their guns together to protect their neighborhoods. The police weren't there. There was nothing. They were on their own. That was one of the things the Second Amendment was there for. And a classic example. No, we weren't being invaded by Mexico. No, of course not. That's not the issue. But sometimes Mother Nature invades us, or a terrorist could invade us, and we would need to be able to protect our own localities until the government got back on its feet. And the third thing, of course, is protection against a tyrannical government. And I'm sorry, but looking at some of the things that some of the candidates for president are talking about, they're walking in the direction of a tyrannical government. Let there be no doubt about that. Socialism, communism, that's tyranny on steroids. And again, I've said this and I'll say it again, and I hate to keep repeating, but truth is, I think the fact that there's this huge push for socialism and even communism and the push for gun control are both so hard and heavy right now that is not a coincidence. You can't have an armed populace and have socialism and communism. Venezuela would be very different, I think, had there been an armed populace. But let's just not let that happen here. We just cannot let that happen here. We've never seen the country the way it is. So all I'm saying is, guys, let's plan on being there on Tuesday. Now, Monday, we were thinking about having a pre-lobby day dinner. I don't know how many people would be interested in that. It would be here in Richmond, probably the same place that we do the pre-lobby day dinner, but I haven't booked anything, and none of the executive members have stepped forward to book anything. So it's already now Friday night. So I'm kind of throwing it in the air at this point, whether we just want to skip it or not. Pat seems to think absolutely. So I think that's what we're talking about. Pat, are you talking about booking? We should book the pre-lobby day dinner Monday night. Anyhow, no, actually it wasn't Pat. All right, but anyhow, well, I'll advise if we end up doing that, I'll put something on VA alert, and we'll, it is kind of a fun thing. It is a chance for everybody to get together the night before. I just don't know, again, I guess that'll be enough time. If I notify you guys over the weekend, hopefully, if you can come out Monday night, it'd be in the evening. I'm thinking last time if we do this, it was like 6 p.m. Or 7 p.m. I don't know, maybe 7 makes more sense to get more people that are coming from out of town that might be spending the night to be there in the morning on Tuesday. that might be better. So let me see if I have any comments. All right, Pat's saying if we do want to meet for this dinner on the Monday night, that we could coordinate that on the special session page. Yes, on our if you have Facebook, we have a page for the special session where we're coordinating carpooling and so forth. We could also maybe coordinate that up there, but I'll put it in the VA alert because I know not everybody has Facebook, and I understand. It's really getting old with what's going on with them. I'll probably have something about what they did to John Lott. And that wasn't Facebook, that was Twitter. But Twitter Lott put him in Twitter jail because he told the truth about a story that wasn't the right story that the gun controlling world wants to tell. And I'll put this in an alert. So it didn't follow the planned script that the gun controllers want. So they put him in Twitter jail for the time being. So we need to embarrass Twitter a little bit. They need to stop doing this stuff. And if they're going to be that kind of political, then I don't know. It's not good. There's some people saying that they're going to be coming in on Monday night. I mean, yeah, if you're out of town and you can do that, that would be great. That way you don't have to get up at some unforgiving time of the morning. I'm even thinking that maybe next year we may want to rearrange how we do lobby day during the winter time to maybe take more advantage of being warmer later in the day. We'll see how that goes. You talk to the board about that. Let's see. Look and see if there's any questions I need to answer in here. Yeah, somebody pointed out, that Maj Tour is from Philadelphia. That's definitely an area that gun rights would be important because they do have their share of criminals right there. Well, they're right next to New Jersey. All right. Well, let me see if I have anybody have any questions they want to ask me. It's we're getting close to being on an hour. I know it's Friday night. You guys have got other things to do. But if you have any questions, things that you think I should address about Lobby Day or anything like that, go ahead and pop them up there. I'm remembering to scroll. So Vincent Smith is saying he hasn't experienced Facebook jail yet, but was in Nextdoor jail for a week. Yeah. So that's going to be a battle we're going to have to keep fighting as well. Terry says that's the same difference. All right, so I guess I'll put a wrap on this. This will be, I think Ed Levine will post this to YouTube. Ed's the one that kind of got this part started, and I'm glad he did. We've had very good, a lot of interest in it. This was Friday night's a rough night to do it. Normally, I wouldn't have done this on a Friday night. I know you guys have other things to do, and I appreciate those of you that have taken the time to be here. I would not have done that, but our fuse is so short. We just don't have much time left at all. It's Tuesday when everything hits. And somebody's asking about ride sharing from Lynchburg. If you have Kurt, if you have Facebook, we're doing ride sharing coordinating up there. Maybe somebody here can respond to you. The NRA had a bus coming up from Virginia Beach, but I never got any follow-up information, any details on that. So maybe they filled it up. I told them if they, wanted more, if they had some seats, we would be happy to have some of our members fill that up. Most of you are probably NRA members as well, but I haven't gotten anything, so I imagine that's full. I know that Ravenna Rifle and Pistol Club had a bus coming from Charlottesville. I think they're full now. So ride sharing is and ride sharing is a good idea anyhow because of parking. There will be no free parking that day, so there's no street parking. So you're going to have to park. Well, if you park on the street, you're going to have to feed the meter. It might be better just to park in a garage. There's a lot of garages around. If you go to the vcdl.org/rally, there is a map of the areas, and there are links to some of the key parking areas. And so that's and a map and everything. All that's up there. If you scroll down a little bit, the capital area parking, and then you can kind of get an idea ahead of time where you may want to drive to. Okay, somebody will be getting there. Terry mentioned she'll be there a little bit later in the morning. What we're going to have to do is, if you get there after everybody else is kind of gone in the building, or the main groups, look for other VCDL members arriving late. I mean, people are doing the best they can. So you may have gotten there too late to go in one of the formal groups. You got some options. Number one, you go ahead and go in the building and go find a group and tack on to the end. Number two, grab a few other VCDL members that have showed up and make an ad hoc group. Say, okay, well, where do we go? Well, what you do with your ad hoc group is go in and just go to the delegates and senators of everybody in the group. Those are probably your two best options. Or three is you could just go in on your own and just go on your own as a one-man or a family group going around. I think it's better to be with others. And if you can do it, tag on to a group if necessary. You won't have a hard time finding them. They're going to be all over the place. Just pick a floor and walk around. You'll see groups of people with their Gun Saves Live stickers, and there'll be a team leader there. I will, again, I don't know how I'm going to pull it off. Again, back to that little rabbit. But I'm going to try to get, as soon as it's humanly possible, a copy of the bill analysis up on the web so that you guys can download it. That way, maybe the night before Monday night, you can read up on what bills are going to be out there, at least that we know of at the time that I finally had to print or publish, and why they're good or bad. And that'll give you a lot of your talking points. So again, an alert will go out and we'll have a link to that. It's going to be very interesting looking back on this next year, and looking back and going, wow, that was fun. Let's see. Terry's mentioning from what she's seen so far on parking to expect to pay about $20. And again, that's where carpools come in handy. You guys can share the cost of parking. And I know on the other hand, again, the other way to look at it is what is the cost of your freedom? And mine is priceless, really. Okay, let's see. Somebody had pointed out that Todd Banks had pointed out that our opponents are sending a bunch of buses down, probably at Michael Bloomberg billionaire's expense, and we could hitch some rides on their buses. But I'm not so sure that's a good idea. First of all, by the time. When I think about it, I have to laugh because I'm thinking by the time you got off that bus being surrounded by those people, I'm not sure you would even be able to put a sentence together without sounding like you were out of your mind. I mean, you would probably walk out of there with your eyes glazed over, and I wouldn't torture anybody by having them on that bus. I think that would be too much to bear for any right thinking person. And you probably wouldn't have a ride back. So, funny thought, but let's not do that. So there was a question about Senator Norman, who's one of the important leaders on the Republican side in the Senate. There have certainly been some things written where he's been thinking a little bit about gun control. I don't know. You never know for sure with these things. First of all, anytime I see something written up in the press, I have to be careful. I've seen how they misquoted me, sometimes intentionally and sometimes not. Just people talk. Sometimes you get the wrong impression of what they said. You misread it, or sometimes you may do it for another reason. But I don't know. he has certainly been voting he's been voting well for several years now, quite a few years now. And, if you're a constituent, absolutely be sure to contact Senator Norman. Just call him and say, hi, I'm a constituent. Please, no more gun control. In fact, let's do things that actually save lives. Let's let permit holders carry concealed if they work for the government. And eventually, let's do that for everybody in some form or some shape or another. At least make it attractive for employers to do that. So if you're, contact them. People are conjecturing how he or other people will vote. There's others as well that people ask me about. That's why I'm having you contact your legislators. So they're hearing from you. When you use our system to email, it goes to your legislators so they know you're a constituent. And that is huge. And we've had about 4,000 emails go out so far on that system. And a lot of people aren't using the system. They're doing it on their own. That's fine. But using our system, we've got about 4,000 go out. So they're hearing from a lot of people. And that's the important part. Staying in touch with them. If indeed they end up voting wrong, when I report something on VA Alert, give them a call and tell them that, that wasn't a good vote. And if they vote right, the other thing is it's a two-edged sword. People will like to be told if they do the right thing. And that's fair. That's perfectly fair. So for you to call and say, I really appreciate your vote to kill the red flag laws in Virginia, be sure and thank them for that. So that tells them, number one, you're watching. You actually are paying attention to what they're doing. And number two, it's the other end of the sword, just to be nice, to thank them. So I would highly recommend you do that. And it's just another opportunity to talk to them or talk to their aide. And just remind them that the gun owners are good people. They're nice people. They're polite people. But they also are very fervent in wanting to protect their right to keep and bear arms. Gail's mentioning that she wishes teachers would be allowed to conceal carry. And believe me, that's on our radar. It has been for years. Let me just briefly on the school carry thing. We're going to keep pushing for that. And what happens is the other side likes to paint it like the teachers or parents carrying with a permit or whoever's in the building carrying legally with a permit is going to be like a SWAT team. They're going to hear a shot and they're going to go down the hall and they're going to, find this guy and they're going to take him out. No, it's going to be nothing like that if they ever get involved. In fact, the fact that they're armed would probably mean we aren't going to have any more school shootings. It'll be a deterrent to stop all that. But let's say that the deterrent didn't work and somehow somebody's stupid enough to pull that off in a school where people with permits are allowed to carry concealed. It's not going to be a SWAT team coming at them. No, we've got SWAT teams for that. And they do train with all kinds of weapons. They do very extensive training. It's not like that. That's not what this is about. And this is what we need to explain to legislators. This is about a teacher locking down her classroom, keeping her students behind her, and she getting behind something and locking her gun down on that door, on the door into the classroom. That's what she's going to do. Not going to be running down the hall. She doesn't need to be a marksman level shooter. She can just be a concealed carry permit holder. It is not going to require the person defending a room like that is by far got the advantage way over the person coming into the room. This is why SWAT teams or police clear a house in teams. They don't ever go in by themselves. They always do it in teams because they're at a huge disadvantage. That teacher locked in that classroom, when the bad guy comes in the door, he doesn't know who's in there. He doesn't know where they are. He doesn't know if there's somebody armed in there. He doesn't know anything. He's walking into a room that he knows nothing about. And he opens the door into an area he doesn't know where to look first. He doesn't know. He hasn't been in there. Meanwhile, she's staring at him from the minute that door opens. She's got her gun trained on his chest. All she has to do is squeeze the trigger. He'll probably go down and never even know where the shot came from. It's not rocket science. It doesn't require a SWAT team. It doesn't require hours of special training. It just requires a lockdown being enforced with somebody with a gun. And if you were a visiting parent, it'd be the same thing for you. You would basically seek shelter and you'd use your gun to protect yourself while the police come. And by doing that, you could save the lives of everybody else in the school, because as soon as that bad guy steps in the wrong room or steps where there's a permit holder of whatever grade, whether it's a teacher or a visiting parent, his days are probably over. And everybody else that has not yet been shot isn't going to be shot. So that's what we're pushing for. And Utah has had this for well over a decade. Any shootings in Utah? I haven't heard of any. Not in schools. Doesn't happen. So, and all they require, a concealed carry permit. That's it. Nothing else. You don't have all this special training. You don't need to be a retired police officer. Don't need any of that. It works. It works. It's like restaurants. They said, oh, if we let people carry where they serve alcohol, blood in the streets, if a waiter brings a cold meal, he's going to get shot. We knew that was baloney, but they kept pushing it, and the press kept parroting it. Same thing with schools. They're going to scream that, all horrible things are going to happen. It won't. Schools will be extremely safe, and they'll never apologize for being wrong. Never happen. So, Gail suggests that they could put children in a closet and they'll wait in the room. And when the person is, they have the chance. Yeah, there you go. Children they could be in a corner on the floor, in a closet, whatever they may have in that room. But they have a teacher there who would, just knowing so many teachers, they would happily, if we know this from a fact from school shootings where we had unarmed teachers. They put their lives on the line for those children. They love them so much, they're willing to die to save them. And our argument is, why do they need to die? They don't need to die. They need to live, and those kids live. Everybody comes out of there. It's just too sad when an unarmed teacher ends up having to be a bulletproof vest for everybody else, and it's not a guarantee. Once the teacher goes down, there's no guarantee the kids are going to be safe. So we're going to work on this. This is not going to be this session, I don't think. I don't see that happening. But we've got to work on this till we get it, and we're not going to give up till we do. So I appreciate it. It's a little after 8. I was trying to keep it to about an hour. Thank you guys for coming out tonight and listening to this. Appreciate that a whole lot. I will maybe see you Monday night. If not, I will definitely see you Tuesday. And the other side's going to know they're in a tussle, because we're going to show up and we're going to definitely fight hard for our rights. So everybody, you have a good evening. Thank you so much. And I will be talking to you. Good evening.